Welcome to FCC Supporters Square. For fans, by fans, and about fans. Here are your hosts, Mark Subin and Matt Foreman. Well, welcome. If you guys are sick of the fog, because here in Cincinnati for the last 2 or 3 days, it's been nothing but fog. I felt like I was somewhere between Seattle and San Francisco, and just in the miserable. So if you are kind of miserable or socked in due to weather, this is the perfect time to come see us or listen to us. So we are FCC Supporter Square, and we are still in our preseason. So we're continuing our series with No and SG. So this week's SG is the fifth line. So say hi, everybody. So
hey, everybody.
There we go. So everybody knows Josh, and a lot of people will know Dustin, but we've got the whole fifth line. So maybe you didn't know that Dustin was part of the fifth line, or maybe you knew Josh as that guy who's like a Viking. But he does a thing, and it was some kind of line, and he sits by the drums. Who knows? Now you're going to put names to faces and SGs to names, and have all that kind of fun stuff. So. Without further ado, there's not a whole lot of news this week. There was some hot talking about what was his name, Buka. He sounded really good. It sounded like they were nearing the finalization, and that was like 3 or 4 days ago. And then nothing. So, how do we feel about preseason so far, Dustin?
Well, from what I've seen, it looks like the boys are down there. They're having fun. They're getting along well. I think that's what we need is them down there. Lucho getting passes over to Boop, and then Boop scoring some goals this season. I'd like to see his numbers rise this year.
I think everybody would agree with that. John, what do you think about the preseason so far?
I'm stoked. Yeah, absolutely. I'm just so excited about the whole center back situation, man. I feel like it's upgraded so much, not only because getting Miles, but getting Kip and getting the Benzo guy. There's so much competition now in between us, that it's just there's going to be great things coming out of the back this year too. I'm super stoked about it. Yeah.
So everybody knows Dustin Peters and Josh Wilson, and that's Alec Bowman, and then we have Alec Kahn, right? No, wait.
There it is.
Yeah,
he was always number one.
He
was always number one. No, you got John Bowman and Alec Kimmett. So you ever see
there you go. So these
another,
are some of these
brewer in the industry as well, right here. So
well, good. See, I want to before I continue. I know it's very small and you probably can't see it, but I am wearing my shirt for Glendale House. They have some test beers. That's why I said it's a busy day for me. I've been running all day, and I've got another 2 hours to go after this taping because I've got to go to. I got to twist my arm. I'm tasting 2 new test beers to see if we should put them in production. So I'm a founding member of the Glendale House. Shout out to Glendale House. Lance McAllister was there. He loved it. McConnell was there. He loved it. So if you're looking for a unique place, it's somebody's house. It is really kind of cool. And the beer is really good as well. I mean, no offense to Josh. He makes a really good beer too, as we've talked about. But if you're looking for, you got to spread it out a little bit. Josh would probably like to come over and see what's what.
Oh yeah, check out the equipment.
What was it? The beer gnome, the traveling gnome was over there.
Yeah, gnarly gnome. Yeah,
gnarly gnome has been there. That he loves it. So that's a shout out for that. But that's not this podcast. This podcast is about that. So, Alec, what did you think of the preseason?
All the excitement's there, but there is that whole backstop just hanging out behind you where that Alvaro, we would have hoped if he is leaving, he would have been sold by now. We'll see what happens tomorrow, but we're getting close to that deadline. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with him if he's on the team. I don't think it'll be a problem I think he's going to love playing for the team still, and he's not going to have any bad feelings about any of this.
Hopefully we don't have another Brenner situation.
Right. I don't think that'll be a problem. We love Alvaro. He loves us. Good character, as far as we can tell. Obviously, we don't know him literally, but yeah, it'll be really interesting to see if there are any moves tomorrow, what happens to the window, and if we can prepare someone for what is it, CCCS or whatever.
Oh, the CCC, yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna
Jamaica.
ask the quietest member of the squad, Josh. He never speaks. What he thinks about preseason, and that's right. Are you still sticking with your prediction from a month ago? Now that you've seen some changes,
I can't even remember what that prediction was.
you were like fourth, I think.
Yeah, I think that we made some great moves. I think that Brandon Vasquez getting moved to Monterey was, it's a little bittersweet in the fact that I would have loved to have gone to Europe, just kind of shows that we can take players at FC Cincinnati, morph them or mold them rather, and move them on to bigger and better things. Which I kind of envision a little bit with what's going to happen with Robinson. I still think he has a chance to make it overseas. He's only 25 years old. It was definitely probably the biggest free agent pickup in Cincinnati sports history. Just like we traded for King Griffey Jr. So that's like the only close one. But I think these Miles is going to turn out to be very, very useful for us. He's going to learn a lot from Matt. Pavel Buka, we brought him up a little bit pre-show. He looks like he's going to be an interesting box-to-box type of guy. And I always bring him up, Angulo. I think we got to see a little bit of something from him in this preseason window
Yeah, I need
here,
to see it.
especially these
See it.
preseason games.
So with Ian.
We have some young players. I mean, he's not even going to be close to the beginning of his prime yet. But Steven Jimenez, he's going to turn 17 this year. You can't throw a whole lot of minutes his way, but by the time he's 19, he's got to play somewhere, and by the time he's 21, he might be playing in Europe. So
Yeah, that's
we
Lucha.
still have that.
Yeah, that's Lucha's protege. That's the next one. That's our next.
Yeah.
Our next
Big
camp.
fan of Steven.
So we've got some things, but it looks like this. I hate to say this because it drives me crazy, but it's also a good thing, is that we're almost set up like Nashville. I think our back line is going to be as top notch. Think about that. We've got Murphy, who the first few times he came in was like red card, red card, red card.
Bad play.
I like this guy. What's this guy? But by the end of the season, it wasn't his fault. On our last game, he didn't do anything tremendously. He played well, but he is there with Miazga and Miles Robinson, and then you don't have to push.
Haglund.
Yeah, you don't have to push him. Let him heal up. We've got 4, 5 that we could play. So we've got really great players, really great backups. I think our defense looks good. We remember that we still have Obi. I think the guy that we got from Houston is going to be a really interesting piece. I'm hoping that we get this Buka guy because he sounds like an upgrade from Moreno, which we don't have, right?
Yeah.
So we have some holes. Well, anyhow, that's a bit of what's going on this week and what we kind of talk about. Let's talk about the fifth line. Why the fifth line and not the Vanguard? And I don't know if you watched the Vanguard or not, but I think there were some friendly challenges thrown your way. But let's first talk about how the fifth line came about. I know you've touched on it briefly in our one-on-one, Josh, but I'd like to hear from everybody and how you got others to be a part of your family.
Well, I've done this, sang this tune a few times, but it all kind of started for me coming to matches and eventually making my way into the Bailey and understanding the culture and all that kind of stuff going on in the Bailey. And just so happened that one match we ended up a large group of us standing directly in front of the drum line in the fifth row. And I kind of decided I want to stay there for the rest of my time being able to stand and watch a match for 90 minutes. And that's when I saw John Boy out of the corner of my right eye. Alec had been going with me for a while, but I saw John Boy on the corner of my right eye, always taking his shirt off. And one day we ended up in the fifth line, and I'll let it kind of go from there for these two. So
Yeah, I remember looking over, I see Josh, man, I'll never forget it. It's just Viking, you know, I was like, man, who is this guy? I looked, I remember walking over to him after the game, and I was like, man, I was like, dude, I was like, you know, I'm John. I was like, dude, I was like, I got this idea, you know, I was like, the fifth line, you know, let's do this, you know, and then Tim was sitting behind us, and then that was, you know, Josh, they were all with, you know, there was 7 or 8 that came along with Josh and
Yeah.
group. I kind of brought like 2 or 3 with me. And then, you know, Tim was behind us, and Tim, you know, I look back to, you know, and because Tim was feeling it, you know, and the excitement, and you know, we all came together, and that was it. It was started the next week. And I mean, yeah, these guys have turned into some of my best friends though too. So it's not even like this is, I mean, they're family. They don't realize it, but they're almost all like, you know, they're all I got. You know?
It's
So
honestly very wild, because a lot of other sporting events you go to, typically you just don't sit with people of like your same intensity, first off. And second off, it's like, not to say that baseball has an older crowd or football has an older crowd, but it's just soccer is definitely a different crowd, especially in the Bailey. And finding guys like Dusty.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Dustin wasn't far behind. He
Yeah.
was right there with us a couple days after, you know, right there with us. And
So how did you join, Dustin?
Oh no, you know, John and Tim approached me. What was it, a week after that? And they're like, "Hey, love your energy." They're like, "You want to join the fifth line? Come stand with us and have fun." I was like, "Hell yeah!" And then, you know, that's how it happened.
And then we have the Guerrero came to be.
Oh yeah.
Well, that one, you know, there was a bet one time. Every item of clothes I add, John's supposed to lose clothes.
I started getting out of shape, man. So I'm trying to get back in shape. So this year we can get back on that. But
So
it was good luck. That's where that came from. It was good luck. We didn't lose a home game for how long? I started taking my shirt off from that moment, and then I couldn't stop doing it. I felt like I had to keep doing it, and I didn't do it though. Until we score, you know, like it wasn't, you know, it was not just crazy. I throw my shirt off. Like it's when we score, and that's it. But
This is the fifth
There was
line.
one game last year where we had really bad luck on the road. I won't say which game it was, but I'm hoping we beat them at home this year. St. Louis.
oh well,
that game.
yeah. Yeah, I marked myself as safe because we were actually tornado chasers going there on that roadie. That was kind of nuts. I've told that story a couple of times. But
Yeah.
so John, are you gonna take your shirt off now? Are you gonna wait?
It's before the goal.
We are
I'm
about
gonna tell you straight up, this isn't this audio video. I'm not taking the shirt off. The shirt's me. I'm past the prime where I start flexing. That's a young man's game, and I'm not flexing.
That's all it was. That's all it was.
So the origin of the name, the fifth line, came from not only that we were in the fifth row, like
row.
section 108, row 5, that whole row is kind of where we stay. And then also in reference to the, you know, tiers of players, like your striker, midfielder, defender, keeper, us. So we're kind of
the last line of defense.
last line of defense. It's kind of the same idea with that. So
whenever the vanguard fails, you will pick up the slack. Is that what I'm hearing?
if they drop the ball, you know what I mean?
They
I'm
just
gonna
check
cut in here.
nets.
We love Aaron in the Vanguard. Much appreciate to Aaron and them.
We love
Yeah,
it.
what I'm saying is, I'm not trying to ruck. I mean, we all kind of know each other with
yeah,
with each other,
it's
but
good.
it's kind of fun that, you know, they took the vanguard. You guys took your fifth line. It's like, yeah, you guys are gonna fail, so we're gonna have to back you up. So, how many members do you have in the fifth line, and how many do you want?
That's why we needed Tim on here tonight. I guess he had a family emergency, unfortunately, so everything's okay, but he wasn't able to make it on time. He would actually have the exact head count for how many people are in the fifth line, but I'd say it's over 20.
Yeah,
That's right
I
around
think
there.
it's
Yeah.
probably 20.
Right around that ballpark.
we're hitting most the fifth line and then the fourth line too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then other people
So
throughout.
they could, yeah, almost
There's
two-thirds, yeah.
other supporters that are that have sat in the fifth row with us, and we know them, and they go crazy, and but they have season tickets out in the normal seats. It's like, yeah, I consider you a fifth line member.
Yeah, it's weird with Holiday, shout out, but like with Holiday and the
Fifth line right here, Holiday Spirits.
Holiday Spirits, yeah, maybe them.
with the fifth line and the fourth line, and just keep calling it that, like until you get to Aaron.
Yeah,
like,
all the way up to
that whole
Vanguard,
section just
yeah.
kind of feels like it's just become that. We are like just all inclusive, don't give a shit. Like, hey, come. And then if we run into you on the lines, we'll be like, hey, like, come to Holiday and drink with us next game and come back to where you're sitting. Like, come on in. We did the weird brew via Taft's 16 left and Devlo, the fifth line lager, and that did things for a second. But
that was a fun beer.
The long story, but that it's become more of a location, like multiple locations, more than just like a group of people. So like, I think we're cool with whoever and whenever, and we're looking at doing like charity work.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
good
more
energy,
of
man.
a real
Love
fluid,
everyone,
good
man.
energy,
Yeah,
just
like-
people coming through.
Oh yeah.
I can attest as a brigade member. As people know, we sadly lost our home. Good news is I know where we're going to be, but I can't say where we're going to be because I would break the news before we actually tell our other members where we're going to go.
We can send a message,
I mean, it literally just happened. So
looks like Tim Benjamin's joining in.
so at some point you're like Dayton and Vanguard is like Cincinnati, and eventually it's just going to be one suburb. Where you won't know where Vanguard ends and fifth line actually begins.
And that actually works with
That's
the
a cool
distance
thing.
from the pitch.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Hi there, Timothy.
Hello,
We're
hello. Can you hear
welcoming
me?
Tim here.
Am I good?
Hey, yeah. Well, you're a little dark, but otherwise good.
I'm getting it sorted. I'm getting it figured out. Had a little emergency
Is it
with
the fog. It's the
what's up?
fog. I swear it's like you're in the love den or something. For the audio people, he's kind of got this really cool like bug lamp that's changing colors.
Oh no, it's a microphone.
You look like a DJ in a
Streamer.
gentleman
Yeah.
No, and I'm out here at Holiday, and they've got great food over here at the Senate where we hang out, and they've extended their hours. They're going to be open to midnights on Saturdays.
That's awesome.
So go before and after the game.
Before and after the games.
Oh yeah.
Finally, that's nice.
So Tim, welcome. You kind of missed the first part of that. So give me a briefly how you became a part of the fifth line, and Josh said you have a head count. So maybe give our listeners how many people you actually have in the fifth line currently.
Yeah, sure. So it started with John. I actually met John over in the Bailey one day. Ended up he was getting crazy and crunk. I'm like, all right, let's party together. He came up with the idea. He had like the branding, the image, everything for the fifth line. And I was like, all right, that's sick. Let's make it happen. Eventually talked to Josh, and Josh got his crew, and we're all together now and doing this. And I usually tell people I'm the sober one, although not really anymore. I kind of do all the important stuff. I'm kind of spearheading our scarf this year, do most of the important stuff, talk to the Incline Collective, anything that needs to go with the club. I do all of that. And I think for head count, what are we looking at? I think for head count, 25, 30-ish people at the moment.
We're close. Yeah.
Just about that.
It's fantastic. I mean, that is really, you think about, it kind of not mirrors my podcast, but when I started this, I just had an idea, and it was Mark and Mark is very busy these days. He'll be back. I'm sure he will be back. But I had an idea. I thought, let's do it this way. And I don't want to be a pundit. I just want to do this. And it's starting to slowly grow. And it's very interesting. We're very close to 100 listeners, both audio and video. So we're very happy about that.
Nice,
But,
nice.
you start with an idea and you're like, you know what? I don't care if anybody likes this. I'm just going to put it out there and hopefully people will find us, and people are beginning to find us. I think it's the same way with you guys. How many years have you been the Fifth Line?
This is coming up on our second.
2.5.
This is coming up year and a half.
Yeah.
So you were a summer transfer.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, summer transfer. We made it into the hot months, and we're like, hey, let's all be friends and scream and sweat together. And yeah, that's not fun during July.
I think I don't know the exact date, but it was I remember specifically because our logo is the iconography of the setup that we had during that game, but we were formed at the DC United game in 2021. I think it's 2021. No, sorry. 20, was it 22 or 23, John?
It was 22.
22 season.
22, because 23 was last year.
Yeah.
So Tim, what percentage of fifth liners are shirtless, and how many people do you have to be shirtless to join the fifth line? I'm just asking.
No. I'll fully admit I'm not cool with my own body, so I don't go shirtless. But
so you don't have to be shirtless. It's just nice to have.
It's part of the culture, but you don't have to.
Hey, I mean, if you get drunk enough, you can go shirtless whenever you want.
So you need a shirtless guy with a 5 and a T and an H and an L, and
we can make it happen.
To have that out there so you guys can identify. Identify as a fifth liner.
Yeah.
All I would say is to wear a shirt is not illegal, but it's frowned upon. So
there you go.
He's on it.
No, I think at one point, pretty much all of us have had our shirt off during a game. Almost all of us.
Let's keep it at shirts, gentlemen.
I think in this call, no, Alec hasn't. I was gonna say in this call, I think I'm the only one that hasn't taken my shirt off at a game. But it was another fifth liner named Ryan who took his shirt off with Josh one time.
Ryan, that was some sad story.
Yeah,
that was against the Columbus game.
Yeah,
that was in the Columbus game.
I was in the drum line for the Hell Is Real 2 game, Purgatory game, and at the end of the game, Trina and I were drumming, and we looked down the line, and everybody took their shirts off. There's a picture of us with everybody with their shirts off, and us looking down the line, going, nope.
He took his shirt off. Ryan took his shirt off for the first time, and he was like yelling it, like, "This is the first time I've taken my shirt off. This is amazing!" And I'm like, "Ryan, 2. We're up by 2. We're there last year." And sure enough,
it happens, man. It happens.
Yeah, you don't want to be down like 5 and then score a late goal and go, "Oh, I don't really want to take my shirt."
Yeah, but we live for the moments, right? We live.
Yeah,
it won't last long.
I hate to bring it back up, but I've been there before. With the Columbus Crew game for playoffs. I was telling John and Josh, there's no way we lose this. There is something we like to try to do with travel, and one of them is always the Columbus game, the fifth line, and then we like to do like travel day kind of thing. Yeah, we're looking at Nashville and Minnesota.
Yeah.
And then we always got the Columbus, and so of course on that the transition was that 5 or 6 route. We were standing right next to I'm sorry, Star Wars.
Oh, the Mandalorian. Or the FC Mando. FC Mando.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And as unfortunate as it was a really good time watching with him. So
he's kind of a good guy. He is.
We all get together, travel together, and do that cool kind
There's
of stuff.
a whole bunch of Mandalorians. I interviewed the Bangalorian who has FC Mandalorian stuff too. I think they should all get together and Mando some stuff.
Yeah.
Where's the Grogu?
Sounds like a plan to me. But that's the story behind the fifth line. Just a fringe group of drunkards that all get together and love one thing, and that's FC Cincinnati.
Yeah.
So
Two things: beer and FC Cincinnati.
Yes, beer and FC Cincinnati.
Yeah, because we don't all agree on NFL.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So I know Josh is a big Bengals fan, but I saw somebody say they went to the Pittsburgh road game and they stood up and people were throwing them out. And they're like, oh man, it's like, I understand. We got tickets and we stood up and then people don't like us. I was like, I wonder if they had a sport in which the away fans had their own place to be and they
Yep.
could
Yeah.
stand up and do their own thing. If only there was a sport. Oh wait, there is one.
Yep. Exactly.
And it's you guys all watch NFL. I'm less so as the years go by, but I have noticed just through X and just hanging out that there's a Bengal scarf. There's people beginning to dress up a little bit differently than they used to back in the day, and there's more of them wearing special things. It's almost like football fans are turning into soccer fans. I think there's kind of this, and there's crossover, right? So you don't have, it's not a zero-sum game. I'm sure you guys, if you guys go to Bengals games, do you dress up similarly, or do you just kind of sit and watch? How do you feel like cross sports?
I think most of
I'm a
us.
season ticket holder as well for the Bengals. I've had season tickets for 2 years for the Bengals. Most of the time it's so damn cold. You're just I'm bundled. I'm a smaller guy. I'm so cold. There's been
I'd like to see you take your shirt off in December.
Well,
I'm from
it's
Wisconsin
crazy,
originally,
man. Like,
so
I had my
cold
shirt off
weather
at the
don't bother
coldest-
me.
I had my shirt off at the coldest game last year, FCC, but I feel it a lot more. It's just so much more intense for me. I can't. I love it with all my. I love this so much. Like I love the Bengals, but soccer was my life growing up, and it's I didn't go pro, so now I'm just living through them. Like I'm living through them now. And that's what it is for me. But
As far as going to an actual Bengals game, my garb is definitely different. You've seen my get up for match days. We've talked about it on this podcast before.
Sometimes.
But I tone it down a lot for the Bengals. I don't sit in a rowdy section for the Bengals either. So it's not like I'm, spinning beer cans, or any of that stuff there. So I'm probably one of the louder guys in my section, but I'm not quite causing as much ruckus.
I gotta thank Josh over there because I'm not a Bengals fan, but I did go to a Bengals preseason this year. Thanks to Josh and giving me his tickets over there when Green Bay came to town.
Yeah.
But growing up in Wisconsin, I mean, we got our cheese heads, so we got, we go shirtless up there in the wintertime. We're used to it.
So, all right. So that leaves me to a very interesting question, because our first game is like February 25th. It's like 3 or 4 weeks away. Are you going to go shirtless for the first home game?
As soon as Corey,
If we make a goal, I'm going shirtless.
It's coming off so fast. I usually a few times I didn't know what I was really doing, but I would take my shirt off and I would just throw it up in the air. And I don't know why I did it, but there's a few times it would go like 6 or 7 rows back, and then I would just throw that back down, and then throw it back down.
Well, Dustin's going to go shirtless regardless. That's what I'm saying.
I'm gonna go shirtless at that game. And then I'm also going to Chicago. A week and a half later, and I'm gonna wear my cheese head, and I'm going shirtless at Soldier Field because we're walking out of there with 3 points coming back to Cincinnati.
Yes, sir.
There you go, brother. So, Tim, shirtless?
I know for a fact I'm not going shirtless. It's gonna be too damn cold. You can get as many beers in me as you want, but that's still gonna be too goddamn cold.
So we're running out of time here. So any final words of what you'd like to tell us when your scarf is out, or any charitable things or whatever? Any last words here before we get out of here?
We did design a new scarf. I'll let Tim talk a little bit about that if he could.
Yeah, we're making a new scarf this year, and the design should be released when we put it up. We're partnering with, hopefully, I might be speaking too soon because it's still in the works, but we're partnering with 513 Shirts. They gave a bunch of Cincinnati flags to all the supporter groups last year. I think it was last year. They gave a bunch of flags, and we're partnering with them to sell a scarf for pre-order, a limited time pre-order, which will go toward Top Soccer, which is a charity for mentally I'm losing the words right here because I was put on the spot. But it's Top Soccer. They do a lot of they let me find it here actually. But we're donating to them. I'll give a brief summary in one sec.
I believe Top Soccer, they deal with the mentally handicapped
Yeah,
people.
that's the word I was looking for. Yeah.
Special needs.
I know they do a
Yeah.
big thing up in Mason every year. They look for volunteers. I actually volunteered up there with them last year with Norden because I was gave them my donation towards the supporter groups last year, and it was a great time. Like I ran the golf cart up there with them for like 7 a.m. to 1 in the afternoon, just shuttling these players from their cars over to the fields.
Very cool. Oh yeah.
But we'll that scarf should be in the near future, hopefully within the next weekish or so. Once we get that going, check Fifth Line X or Twitter. Check our Instagram. We'll post all about it once it's up.
Yeah, let me know. That's about 1/3 of my scarves.
Yeah.
I actually broke the wire. I put so many scarves up there, I had to refix it. So that's why it's not full. But anyhow, all right. Well, thank you guys. Before we go, there's a couple of things that I want to put out for the things that I know, and I don't know all of it. So Pride, somebody help me out here. But February 2nd, which is next Friday, if I'm not mistaken, the Pride is having some kind of meetup. I can't remember where. That's the problem. But I do know it's Friday night. I do know that Saturday, I think it's 1 to 4 at Grainworks. Norden is having their shield party. February 17th, the Brigade is having their shield party. I know that I will be there.
I'll be down there.
And shameless plug also is, and you guys are all very much welcome. I would love to have a large crew, but this is probably our 4th or 5th year marching. I can't remember how many years I've been doing it. So it gets all confused. But Dustin was there last year. We do the St. Patrick's Day parade. It's Saturday. I believe it's March 17th.
March 16th. I would love to be there, but my dad is getting married that day, so I will not be there this year.
I'll bring him.
The wedding's at 1.
Bring him.
I was like, man,
I can't think of a better day than to march with FCC supporters and then get married. I think that's
the
what
wedding starts at
should.
1, so I'm not going to make it.
But if you guys are more than welcome, or everybody is welcome. You don't have to even be a Bailey hardcore. We as long as you like FCC and wear some FCC gear and march in the parade with us, it's a blast. You can if you run into Dustin, he'll tell you. So anyhow,
Then
thanks
we usually
guys.
meet up at Molly's afterwards.
Yes. Get some Irish coffees to warm up, or Guinness if it's too hot. So there you go.
Always a Guinness. It's always a lovely day for a Guinness.
Absolutely. So thank you guys. Thank you Fifth Line for joining us here at FCC Supporter Square. We'll see you next week. I believe I have another SG. I'm working things out. Well, hopefully we have one more in this series before the season starts getting hot and heavy. And we'll see you next week on FCC Supporter Square.
Thanks.
Later.
Thank you for listening to FCC Supporter Square. Your hosts are Mark Shooting and Matt Warner. If you'd like to be a guest, please contact us at fcc.supp.square@gmail.com. The intro song was Living Inside My Brain by the Stone Buttons. The exit song was Awesome Sauce, also by the Stone Buttons. Thank you for listening.